I got like 20 seconds.
That tie is very, it's dirty.
Woo. Got an Easter vibe to it, I suppose. All right. Let's call this meeting order, November 14th, 2023, 6 p.m. Would you please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Will the clerk please take the roll?
Councilmember Johnstone. Here. Councilmember Richardson.
Present.
Councilmember Crossman.
Here.
Councilmember Smith. Here. Councilmember Hess.
Here.
Councilmember Brooks. Here. Councilmember Kaminsky. Here. Mayor DePico.
Here. Can we get an agenda approval?
I'll move to approve the agenda.
Second by Councilmember Kaminsky. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say nay. Motion carries. All right, this month we do have a small business Saturday proclamation. Go ahead and read that. City of Yale mayoral proclamation, small business Saturday on November 25th, 2023. Whereas the city of Yale, Washington celebrates our local small businesses and the contributions they make to our local economy and community. And whereas small businesses employ 47.5% of all businesses with employees in the United States. And whereas 90% of consumers in the United States say Small Business Saturday has had a positive impact in their community. And whereas 89% of consumers who are aware of Small Business Saturday said the day encourages them to shop small all year long. And whereas 73% of consumers who reportedly shopped small at independently owned retailers and restaurants on Small Business Saturday did so with friends or family. And whereas the most reported reason for consumers aware of the day to shop and dine at small independently owned businesses was to support their community. And whereas Yale, Washington supports our local businesses, it creates jobs, boosts our local economy, and preserves our communities. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Joe DePeno, Mayor of the City of Yale, do hereby proclaim November 25th, 2023 as Small Business Saturday, encourage the community to support small businesses and merchants on Small Business Saturday and throughout the year. Signed, City of Yale, Washington, this 14th day of November 2023. All right, we will move on to public comments. We have one person signed up. If you want to speak to council or myself, please write your name on these blue cards located out there, or just come up here and we'll get your information. Jonathan, please state your name and your location for the record. And at the podium, please. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Jonathan Perry. I am a resident of Yale. I am here to address the problem of homelessness. So, during my time here, I've seen many homeless people on the streets, and I feel that that number is getting bigger with each passing year. I have what I believe to be a solution to this problem. So, in theory, the source of this problem is not that homeless people don't have jobs or homes to live in, but instead it could be more of a drug problem. My solution would be rehabilitation centers. Now, I've seen this in action, and it has worked in the state of Delaware. And I believe that that same thing can work here in Washington State. I hope you'll take my solution into consideration.
Thank you, Jonathan. We do have a homelessness committee here, and perhaps you might want to attend one of those meetings and present your ideas at that meeting. We can, if you write down your information on there, we can get you the meeting dates and times. But thank you. All All right, is there anyone online that wishes to testify? And don't see any hands raised. Move on. All right, you don't see any hands raised either, just double checking, all right. Moving on to the consent agenda, we have the October 10th, 2023 and October 24th, 2023 regular meeting minutes, as well as the September 2023 check register and position summary report. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda? Councilmember Smith,
I will move to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
second by Councilmember Johnstone. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Motion carries. All right, moving on to new business. We have the public services contract with Midway Underground for the construction of the Prairie Line Trail Phase 2.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. First thing I have tonight, with Prairie Line Trail, as you all know, that we were awarded a grant back in June of 21 for a total of $570,789 for construction and design with a 20% match, leaving the city's obligation at $114,158. So plans and specs are completed, we're ready to move to construction. We put the job out to bid. Our low came in underestimated, which was around 450,000. Construction is expected to take around 40 working days, and obviously weather pending. I mean, we are working with asphalt, so hopefully weather cooperates there. We had 18 bids, which I think is a record. Correct me if I'm wrong. It was amazing. It took a while to go through everything. And Midway Underground was the low bid, which we were happy to see. They actually did all the underground work for the middle school. So we worked with them a little bit with the utilities and they did great work. So we were excited to see that. I gave you guys a final bid tabulation because I think I forgot to add it in the packet so you can see everybody's bids.
Brad,
Yes,
why do you think it came so much under budget?
really, we talked about this and I think a big part of it is time of year. A lot of construction companies are slow this time of year. So I think they're just looking for jobs to keep their guys busy. And I think that was the main reason. So it worked out in our favor this time. So
Sometimes it doesn't, so we're happy to have
we
it.
love it.
Yeah, that's
So-
great.
So in the end. Does anybody have any more questions about this? Yeah.
So you said they worked middle school.
Yeah, they did all the underground dirt work, asphalt for the new middle school.
So from that observation of what they did there, you figured, man, these guys are pretty
Yeah.
intent
Yeah.
and so that's good to have some testimony of some previous
Right.
work that you're good about. So that if you've already seen them work, you like what they do, you know, it's a decent bid, then yeah.
Other questions from council? All right, entertain a vote or a motion. Councilmember Kaminsky.
I move to authorize Mayor Joe DePinto to sign the public services agreement with Midway Underground in the not to exceed amount of $376,945 for the construction of the Prairie Line Trail Phase 2.
Second.
Second by Councilmember Johnstone. Is there any further discussion? All right, we'll go and do a roll call vote for this, just to be safe. Councilmember Kaminsky, how do you vote?
Yes.
Councilmember Brooks,
Yes.
Councilmember Hess,
Yes.
Councilmember Smith,
Yes.
Councilmember Crossman,
Yes.
Councilmember Richardson,
Yes.
Councilmember Johnstone.
Yes.
Great, unanimous decision. We have We have a contract. Thank you, Brad.
Awesome, thank you.
All right, moving on to amendment number 3 to the professional services agreement with SCJ for construction management of the Prairie Line Trail Phase 2. Brad, is this you too?
This is me too.
All right.
So let's go 2 for 2 here. So obviously, the reason that we did this way to bring this amendment to their construction management contract is we weren't sure how bids were gonna come in. So we want obviously SCJ to do the construction management. They're the most qualified. So we decided to put it out for bid and then base their fee on what the bids came in at. So because we were worried about it being a little high and we didn't know if we were gonna have enough money. So everything worked out. SDJ was tasked with the design of the trail and delivered 100% plans and specs to be implemented into the construction phase. We believe SCJ is the best suited for the construction manager of this project. So, their fee is $42,724.04.
Brad, could you explain the difference between this one and the last contract that we had?
So this is for construction management. So these are the designers. So these, and there is a scope of work in your packet that spells out everything that they do for us during construction. So this is their fee to complete the project.
Questions from the council, Councilman Richardson.
So I can understand what so this says, phase 2 of Prairie Line Trail, phase 2 of the Prairie Line Trail, just as much as the previous motion that we passed. And the relationship to Midway, and again, it's management. And what course of management we looking, you mentioned specs, blueprints, is this more of a administrative or is it more of on-site?
Yes, so there will be on-site work, inspection, there will be submittals that come in. So every construction project, every material, anything, every stick of wood, asphalt, gravel, topsoil, everything is submitted.
So the reason for the SCJ would be accountability and making sure the job gets done correctly and on time.
Correct.
So this is what we're paying for, is for management over Midway that we've hired, or we just made so that's what the why is. That's the basis for it.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense to me.
Any other questions?
Councilor Smith?
So it's an amendment and I had read through everything. So how much was it in before?
So we're right at 70,000 with SCJ right now for complete design and all the way through bidding documents.
So this is an
So this is an
additional.
additional 42,000 for construction management.
What happens if we don't have this, Brad? What happens?
And we have to have this. I mean, there's a lot of work that goes involved with all these submittals and tracking. RFIs and there's a lot of work that goes into it.
Would someone on staff be able to handle this, or would we have to? Would someone on staff be able to handle this, or do we have to have a?
Yeah, there's no way. I mean, if I was to try to do the construction management for all these projects, it's physically impossible. Absolutely impossible. And this is all covered in the grant as well.
Councilor Smith?
So if we have to have it, how come it wasn't included initially?
They're included in every contract.
But the 70,000, how come now we're adding?
Because that was a contract for design. So this is an amendment to the contract. We could have made a completely new contract,
Okay.
but amendments is usually easier. Go ahead.
And you had mentioned before you weren't sure how the contracting process was gonna go with the other Cause a lot of this is hand in hand with the other bid.
And this was kind of a strategy move for the city to save money.
Right.
Because we didn't know where the bids were gonna come in at.
So you saw the bid come in low and you thought, okay, let's put more money towards management to make sure that this. Is that what's
So we based this contract off of the bid that came
Okay.
in. So we actually,
How'd you base it off of it? Was there a formula or?
it is a percentage, Cody, do you know?
15, I believe.
15?
Yeah.
So if it would have came in high, we would have paid more. So
Yes, or we would have went another way.
Councilmember Smith?
I don't disagree with it. I think the problem is the perception, because this is the second, I mean, we had the stage. Now we have this contract and now they're asking for more money. I do understand, and I understand it's a little bit different. I'm just saying that I think and I understand the amendment is easier, but I think for the general public, it might be easier to have a separate contract in the future, because this, to me, when I was reading through it all initially, I'm like, okay, what's going on? Are we not vetting out the contracts to begin with? Is something missing? But I do understand it. I just think that it looks kind of wonky. That's all.
Okay.
Thank you.
Councilmember Hess?
And I just want to clarify with one of the questions that the mayor asked you about. It's the reason why we need this, because we do not have the capability at this time to pay somebody on staff to be project manager of sitting there watching every step. We just don't have the staff to cover such things. And so what we're doing is we're basically paying somebody for I forget how many days it is, 40 days or so, or however many, we're paying them the equivalency of a project manager's fee to make sure that that Midway Underground adheres to their side of the contract, tracks all the materials, makes sure that all permits and everything is done accordingly, and everything is inspected appropriately. Is that correct?
Correct, absolutely.
Councilmember Crossman, do you have any questions, comments? Entertain a motion. Councilor Richardson?
I'd like to make a motion to authorize Mayor Joe DePinto to sign amendment number 3 to the professional services agreement, SCJ, in the amount to exceed amount of $42,724.04 for construction management services of the Prairie Line Trail Phase 2.
Second.
Second by Councilmember Johnstone. Is there any further discussion? All right, let's do a roll call vote. Councilmember Johnstone, how do you vote?
Yes.
Councilmember Richardson?
Yes.
Councilmember Crossman?
Yes.
Councilmember Smith?
Yes.
Councilmember Hess?
Yes.
Councilmember Brooks?
Yes.
Councilmember Kaminsky?
Yes.
Unanimous decision. Thank you. Thank you, Brad. All right, moving on to item C, Water Reclamation Facility Phase 2 upgrades, change orders 3 and 4. Brad, is this you again?
Yeah, let's go.
Please.
Go for 3. Okay, so this one isn't as fun, but it's still a slam dunk. These are for change orders for Schedule B and Schedule A work for the WRF. And we'll start out with the one that's not so much fun first. We've got a lot of pieces to this that have been brewing for months and months and months. And I'll just go through and list some of the things that we're adding. We've got some additional bracing on the bio dryer shed, bio dryer drain line redirect, to septic receiving, increasing flow to the septic receiving to accommodate more trucks per day, for processing and reducing our supplemental carbon, which will actually save us quite a bit of money in the long run. Some electrical revisions. We've got centrifuge building relocation. Like I said, there's a ton of work here. The increase for this is $306,727.59. including Washington state tax. That being said, we have a 10% contingency on this. On Schedule B, Schedule A, but for Schedule B work. So this is well within our budget. We're well within our contingency, and this is less than 1% of this project. So the fact that we've gone almost a year now into this project of this size without any change is amazing. So I know that is a big number, but it's necessary. I mean, this is gonna help our plant run the way we want it to run. So in the long run, this is gonna do nothing but help us out. Now for the fun part of this, we do have a negative cost for Schedule A work, which amounts to $62,581.72. So this was, this has been a long time coming, but we chose to delete the chemical feed building because we have a building on site that we can use for all that equipment. So we pulled the building out and then had to add in relocation of that equipment, pumps and chemical totes and whatnot. So so it lessens the blow a little bit on this. But like I said, the main thing is we're well within our contingency. And I want everybody to know that especially on all these jobs, none of these decisions are made lightly. We go over this and over this and over this to make sure that we're getting the product that we want from the contractor and what we want from the engineers. So we have actually, out of all of the change that was proposed by the contractor, we've cut that dollar figure in more than half. So like I said, with the size of this project and this amount of change this far in, we're doing really well. And this is not going to be the last change order. I hate to say that, but we all hope that it will be, but for a project of this size, this is completely normal.
You mentioned some, sorry, you mentioned some parts purchases. Or was that, I heard bio dryer, I heard
So some additional bracing. Bio dryer, drain redirection. So there are some parts and pieces, but a bulk of this is labor.
Councilmember Smith.
So, you know, you said it's still within budget, the contingency, I understand that. So what is the total budget? What was the budget or what is the budget for the?
Budget for Schedule B was 600,000, or no, I'm sorry. Right around 6 million, just a touch over 6 million.
That's right.
Okay, so the 300 and whatever it is, 300X, thank you. The 300,000 is just still coming out of that. It's not coming from any place else.
That is about roughly half of our contingency
Okay,
for Schedule B.
okay, so it's not, and I'm just looking at, yeah, Cody's smiling. I just want to make sure again for the public, because I feel like we just have these contracts and all of a sudden we're like, again, I understand it, but to the keyboard warriors out there, just saying.
So every project, especially if these are the size, we always plan a 10% contingency, sometimes 15 if it's more unknowns. So 10% contingency for 6 million, off the top of my head, would be about 600,000. So yeah, we're about half of that contingency. And you always, because there's always gonna be changes, like you said, and these ones specifically were upgrades we want to do now, so we can take in septage when people come in. You know, we can actually have trucks from outside the city and we can charge them for dropping off septage. So these were the main set of these upgrades.
so back to that, which would create revenue.
Yes, correct.
Okay,
So we wanted to make sure to have that lined up because we don't want to go back later and go, hey, let's upgrade these pipes so we can bring in Centralia stuff, Chehalis stuff, Tenino stuff, Rainier stuff. Now we'll have the capacity right away.
so sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. In the long run, so this is gonna help support a money generator to bring money to the city.
Correct. And the original plan was just built to handle our own septage, but we saw the benefit of, there's so many people that have been asking us, can we dump at your place? And we go, wait, let's do, and this will also allow us, one thing we've had a long request of is, I know it sounds, the RV dump, right? The RV dump has been something that people have been wanting back. And this would give us the ability to take RVs again. And actually bring those back in so we could have an RV dump in Yelm again, which has been a big request I've gotten over the last year and a half, so.
So in a sense,
Councilor Hess, sorry.
sorry,
Councilor Hess had a question.
Sorry,
Sorry.
and it's just because I may be out of sorts on this one. The decreasing our need for supplemental carbon purchase. Okay, if you could please explain that, because I understand what that is all about, but that's normally for the energy producers. So why are we having to pay why are we having to be part of that bidding process for carbon?
So, want me to take it? All right, so one, and you can fill in if I miss anything. So one thing that sewer plants require is they require something called BOD, which is carbonate based. Our plant doesn't get that because we have step tanks. All the solids stay at your house and the liquids come to the plant. The liquids don't have that carbon or BOD, the meat of what's in your septic tank. I know it's getting gross. So carbon, we have to add supplemental carbon to meet that need. Well, if we have a septic receiving station, when a person pulls up with their septic truck, we pump their truck. Everything in that truck is the carbon, the food source we need for all the bugs that live in that plant. We take that, we pump it in, and now we get those extra bugs. So we don't have to supplement with fake carbon, or, you know, we don't have to buy carbon. We have it right there in those septic trucks or RV trucks.
Okay, so it is not part of the energy producer carbon emission of, hey, we emit this many particles of carbon, so we have to purchase because we're adding, and we're kind of saying, okay, so
Same element on the periodic table, different uses of that element.
I just want to make sure this was not towards because the way it read, it sounded like it was towards that.
Yeah, and I can understand where people would think, because carbon's the thing, carbon, watch out, you know, this is the same type of the periodic table element, but it's just in a different form that we use it for.
Other questions? Councilor Kaminsky.
But
Then
there's a $62,000 credit. So
Yes.
it's less than 306,000.
Correct. So there will be, and I'm still back, Thunder, he's doing a good job. There will be throughout this project things that we go, hey, we don't really need that. We found a way to get around that. And then we get credit, 62,000. We don't need this chemical feed building. And there will be things that we go, hey, we should probably add this. Is it within contingency? We'll do that. Also, the loan will shift. So if we spend less money, the loan goes down. If we spend more money, the loan goes up. So the loan will shift back and forth, and the solid side is out of our budget with that 10% plan contingency. So we have that as well. And the whole, we want to make the best. The one thing I hate to see, and I know you guys probably as well, is to build a plant and then immediately like a week or a year later go, oh, we need to upgrade these pipes, are too small. So our goal is to make sure that this plant does not have to be upgraded again. Like it's going to last till the end of time, till the end of our time, at least 2045, right? That's the whole goal of this, is there shouldn't be no upgrades needed till 2045 on this plant. And the upgrades that are needed is going to be just buying one of those cassettes, dropping it in, and that should be easy for anyone to do. So we're going to make it as easy on the future of Yelm by spending a little extra money now and doing things right. So that's our goal.
Right the first time.
Exactly. Instead of having to go back in a year and go, why didn't they build it bigger? And we go, sorry.
Councilor Richardson.
no, Cody just answered my question.
Any other questions? Councilor Crossman? All right, look for a motion. Councilor Kaminsky.
I move to authorize Mayor Joe DePinto to sign change orders 3 and 4 for the WRF upgrades phase 2 project.
Second by Councilor Brooks. Any other further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Sorry, any opposed say nay. Motion carries. All righty, thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on to resolution number 645, updating the city of Yelm fee schedule.
Brad. Yeah, this is me.
It's like, oh. Give it a shot.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, council. So in front of you is resolution 645. Modifying our fee structure, separating the use of the city park, adding the park stage. And city-owned barricades. Language to clean up existing language, be more consistent with current practice. Use of the city park would be a separate rental, allowing a user to rent a portion of the park if desired. The newly constructed stage could be rented as a separate use and or is included with the park rental. Under existing language, it is less expensive to rent the park, community center, adjacent parking lots, and multiple streets than it is to just rent the community center. Through the 2023 rental season, there were many lessons learned that are reflective in the fee structure proposal and the complete overhaul of the rental facilities guidelines and policies. So we've spent a fair amount of time discussing these, and I'd entertain any questions you may have.
Councilor Kaminsky.
Shouldn't we call this a City of Yelm Community Center / Park fee schedule? Because when I looked at that, it's like, what other fees do we charge? Like, it's not specific to the park when really it is specific to the park.
On the revised schedule, it separates out. So on the table B under park rental rates, it separates out this park space only with stage. So before it was just an event rental, which included the community center and the park. So this would allow you to just rent the park and not the community center if you
I
chose.
guess it's just the wording of the resolution. That it doesn't specify what we're talking about. You know what I mean?
Oh, the Yelm, it just says Yelm. She's talking, I think in the actual resolution, it just says Yelm
Yelm
fees.
fee schedule. It's not specific.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because the whole fee schedule that you have is all of our fees. So there's because it includes park barricades, it includes a few modifications. And one of the cleanups that we did was under verified nonprofits, we added language that would support the current practice of private rentals. So we were always doing that, but it wasn't listed under category 2. So we just added that language to clarify our current practice. So that was the piece that we clarified.
Other questions, comments? Dr. Johnstone.
I move to approve resolution number 645, updating the City of Yelm fee schedule.
Is there a second? Second by Councilmember Smith. Any further discussion? Let's do a roll call vote, starting with Councilmember Kaminsky.
Yes.
Councilmember Brooks.
Yes.
Councilmember Hess.
Yes.
Councilmember Smith.
Yes.
Councilmember Crossman.
Yes.
Councilmember Richardson.
Yes.
Councilmember Johnstone.
Yes.
Great. Motion carries. Thank you. All right. Yeah, should take it. Moving on to old business. We have the ordinance number 1105, 2024 ad valorem property tax. There is no action on this for this meeting, correct? Or is this,
We're adopting.
we're adopting,
Yes.
excuse me. Take it away.
All right, thank you, Mayor and council members. So in your packet, we have the 2024 ad valorem property tax levy. There has not been any changes to the amount, so it's the same amount that we've been discussing when we had the public hearings. So we did not take the 1% increase. I want to stress that we did not take it. And so the tax amount is the 1,624,000 that was the same for 2023. Plus, we have about 70,000 of new construction that has gone on to the assessment rolls. And then we have about $10,000 that is administrative refund. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions anybody has on this.
Councilmember Smith.
I'll move to approve ordinance number 1105, setting the ad valorem. I can't say that, property tax for the fiscal year 2024.
Second.
Second by Councilmember Kaminsky. Is there any further discussion? All right, let's do a roll call vote again. Councilmember Johnstone.
Yes.
Councilmember Richardson.
Yes.
Councilmember Crossman.
Yes.
Councilmember Smith.
Yes.
Councilmember Hess.
Yes.
Councilmember Brooks.
Yes.
Councilmember Kaminsky.
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously.
Yeah.
All right, thank you, Stephanie. All right, moving on to standing council committee reports. The safety committee.
No meeting.
Public Services Committee,
Nothing new to add.
Finance Committee.
Yes, we had a finance committee meeting today. We went over the mid-biennium budget amendment. And Stephanie asked a question, which was it what finance related information could we have provided to you at the beginning of your term to make your position easier as it relates to finance? So she had took some ideas from us in the room, and I think really if we could just understand the process of how, if we can see the big picture, and I said, here's the thing. As I mentioned it to Ashley, I said, you just gotta understand, like, three things. Cody spends the most money. Public services comes first, public safety is a strong second, and then the rest of it goes to everything else. But then if she could really put that in some kind of a picture graph with color by number would be great for the rest of us to understand. Because the finance language is very confusing. So for the rest of us who just want to know where the money's going and we want some transparency, and I think there is some transparency. I just think the verbiage and the language confuses us. And then also we had mentioned if there's projects that are going on, if we could be very clear to show that how much money was from grants versus how much money was from taxpayer dollars, because that's the mighty keyboard warriors coming at that too. So we want to just see, if you could learn how to speak our language better, which I think Stephanie's very capable of. We could help the public understand that there is some transparency with the city and that they're spending the money wisely, and that a lot of these things are coming from grants, and that grants require us usually a 10% buy-in, and sometimes it's more than that.
10 to 15%.
10-15 match. So, there's a lot there. So I thought it was very, very well done. And again, being a part of this and watching how things work and watching where the money goes and how it's generated, you just kind of go, oh, I get it. But I can't teach it, but I get it. So we're going to work on that. She's going to put something together and run it by us, and that way we can see if we approve.
All right, moving on to Mayor, City Minister, staff reports. Todd?
Thank you, Mayor. Start with the Public Services Department. Winter preparations are underway. You may have seen roads being de-iced in the last couple of weeks. I think they were last night as well, right, Cody? 2 plows being outfitted, so we're ready for the snow apocalypse to happen when it does. You see a lot of street sweeping daily to remove the leaves and whatnot, which is fantastic. They're running almost daily. Christmas decorations, Christmas in the park, they're gearing up, getting ready to put the lights up for Christmas. We have a new operations manager that started last Monday, November 6th, Dean Norton. City Park stage nearing completion. If you haven't seen it, it's really starting to take shape where you can see what maybe the final product's going to be. That's still on pace to be completed before Christmas in the park. We're excited about that. Dog park construction still proceeding on time. Seen some photos of that, some aerial photos. And the police department, business as usual, interviews, training, whatnot. They're also working on a new badge, and this is, I think, reported out to the Public Safety Committee. If not, at the next one, you'll see send of the mock-up of the new badges, the new badge design. Police department worked directly with the Nisqually tribe to get this completely grant funded to pay for the updated badges, and actually work with the tribe on the design. They're pretty impressive. And so I know Rob will present those at the next Public Safety Committee meeting and get some feedback on that. In the Finance Department, you already reported on that. We have our audit exit conference scheduled for December 4th, 11 o'clock. I think everyone got an email on that if you want to take part in that. It's just a Zoom, it's online. From the rec coordinator, wrapped up a pretty successful Veterans Day celebration Saturday. The weather did not cooperate whatsoever. But it was very well attended. Full speed ahead on Now Christmas in the Park setups. Just a few events coming up. I'll rattle these off. I won't go into too much detail. November 22nd to 26th is the Turkey Sticker Stop. December 1, free pictures with Santa at the community center. December 2nd, Christmas in the Park. December 4th and 5th, gingerbread houses will be delivered to City Hall. We will have them for several weeks where people can bring in and vote, bring in canned food, different things like that. Voting for gingerbread house contact using non-perishable items happens December 6th to the 14th. December 11th will be our menorah lighting in the city park. December 16th on Saturday will be the morning with Mrs. Claus. December 19th will be the gingerbread cookie decorating workshop. And on Thursday, December 21st will be the winter solstice walk.
That's some good stuff.
A lot going on there. From the executive department, we have our employee appreciation Thanksmas lunch planned for Wednesday, December 6th. Council is invited to that as well. We'll send something out for everyone. The Best of the Nisqually Gala happened last Thursday. A few employees and even a council member was recognized at this event. It was very well attended. It was a good evening. We have several openings on our boards and commissions. We have the Arts Commission, Police Advisory Committee, Parks Advisory, Planning Commission, and Salary Commission. The original closing date was tomorrow. We will more than likely extend that, obviously, unless we get a rush of applications that come in tomorrow. So that is that's all I got.
Any questions for him? Councilmember Kaminsky.
Regarding the weather, why do we get so much flooding in those two places on Yelm Avenue? The one at Clark Road and the old city hall is like a swimming pool, just in those two
Is
places.
that the drainage, Cody? Just the drainage issue there?
Yes. And we're working with WASDOT because obviously you see those are.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are working with WASDOT. So there's the Clark Road one that floods, and we have that one where the fire is where the gas line runs right next to the bank. Those are WASDOT right of ways. So we're working with them to try to get some kind of fix to those. There is one area in Yelm that does have issues that we've been working on between the two apartment buildings on Washington Street. And that one's going to take some upgrades to do, but that one we can do ourselves, where the other ones we have to work in conjunction with WASDOT because it's theirs.
We haven't known that, sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. No, we want to improve it, want to fix it. I agree.
For my report.
Hold on real quick, Mayor. Can we just one more thing on the advisory commissions?
Yeah,
just to clarify
please.
something.
So I just wanted to add one thing. There's a little bit of confusion about who can join these boards and commissions. So I just want to let people know we have the Arts Commission, Parks Advisory, and the Planning Commission. You have to be a resident of the Yelm area. You do not have to live inside the Yelm city limits to be on those. Police Advisory Committee, you either have to live in the city limits, be a business owner in the city, or work in the city of Yelm. Salary Commission, you have to reside in the urban growth area. Those are the ones with openings, but we do also have boards and commissions. We don't have current openings, but just for informational purposes, Homelessness Committee, Historic Preservation Committee, Tree Advisory Committee are ones you can join just to be a resident of the area. Civil service is set by RCW. That's a little bit different. You do have to live in the city. And the Lodging Tax Advisory Committee is set by RCW, and those have very specific requirements. So we do have a lot of opportunities for people to serve in those roles if you don't live in the city limits.
Any questions for Kathy? Councilor Hess?
Could you please define the Yelm surrounding area? And the reason why I ask is, are we just saying that it's 98597 zip code, or is it as far as towards McKenna? Is it as far out? Because McKenna is not a city itself, it's just a place name. What are the boundaries?
There are no boundaries. It just simply states the resident of the Yelm area. So I would think it would be kind of considered all of those areas. Yelm, McKenna would still be the Yelm area.
If you have a Yelm in your address, you're probably good to go.
So,
But Rainier and I know.
Rainier.
you don't have a specific boundary. So if you live in the general area, it would be considered.
Any other questions for? All right, for me, met with the Nisqually tribe here last week. Talking on a few items. One of importance is our Yelm bypass and the Yelm loop. Right now, construction bids will go out for contract in January of 2025. That's obviously been moved back. Talking with them, one of the big issues that the Nisqually tribe has impact on this is finding of cultural significance. And they want to, it's near the bridge location of the bypass, right where it dead ends pretty much. They're wanting to ensure that everything is preserved, protected, if there's any items of significance over there. I think there was an obsidian arrowhead that was found initially, which triggered this. They understand how important the timeline is for us in Yelm, and it is for them as well. We are trying to move that up to 2024 at the least. It's probably gonna look towards winter of 2024, but we will likely move that up just slightly. So making some progress with them, but it's within our sights now. We will be going to bid here in the near future. Other than that, I had a meeting with the YMCA. We're gonna have another one here on Thursday. Councilor Todd and myself are gonna be going chatting with them. We'll be presenting, they will be presenting the YMCA at our December meeting, at our December council meeting. They have preliminary plans and like some renderings for us to take a look at. And go from there and talk about some of the different options that are available and paths forward. We'll be setting our legislative agenda at our December study session. So start thinking about priorities that you'd like to see the city pursue. I would recommend, and I'll have some suggestions too, but I would recommend, it's always my thought that we should save money wherever we can. I find that session is a good time to get money for our projects. And so I would hope that council would also find that we should go after money. However, policy issues are also important as well. And if council finds an issue that's of great importance to them, we will pursue it. But we'll discuss those at the study session. And yeah, be good to go on that. Other than that, also attended the Veterans Concert. It was sparsely attended at first, but it picked up, especially after the football game got out. It was good to, I think the veterans organizations that ran the beer garden made some money for themselves, so happy for them. And other than that, council assignments, we will be starting to discuss that on the 28th. I'll give a reminder to council if you want a certain position or a certain council assignment, whether it's internal or external. We'll be going through that. It's been 2 years, and so we'll be discussing that. And then at the actual study session, Kathy will give out a sheet with all the different assignments, and you can choose your 1, 2, and 3 and all that. We'll go from there. And then at that council meeting in December, I'll go ahead and announce council assignments and all that. Other than that, about it. Council will, yeah.
I have a question. Shouldn't we talk to the YMCA people in a study session where we can have more of a conversation?
It's going to be in the presentation portion of it. This is the meeting that he could make that in December. That was originally the plan to do it in a study session.
Yeah, get into discussion here.
We will be able to, because it'll be under a special presentation, so we'll just be
Okay.
able to discuss normally. We won't take any action or anything on it at that time. Councilmember Hess.
When we're looking at the new assignments and all for the committees, will the general government committee be one of those that's brought into play?
We will be discussing that at the study session is on the agenda. And then we'll go from there. If council would like to bring it back, we will we'll assign council members to that. Anything else for me? All right, let's go to council member reports. Councilmember Johnstone.
Got nothing.
And also just real quick, sorry, it's back to me for a second. We will be going for council members that are newly elected. Certification is on the 28th. I will be reaching out by the end of this week to projected council members that are members on it. And I will make sure that they are informed of the upcoming council meeting and what's on the agenda and all that. And for those that are not, not move forward, I do want to take time at the next council meeting to thank you for your service And I would appreciate if you would still attend that next council meeting. It's up to you, but other than that, Councilor Richardson, back to your report.
I got nothing.
Okay, Councilor Crossman.
Nothing.
Councilor Smith.
I attended TCOM and then the Southeast Thurston Fire Authority and kind of the same thing. There was nothing glaring, still need people. I did just want to say something really quick. I know it's been a while because it's been a couple of weeks since we met, but hopefully a lot of people went to the trunk or treat that More Designs put on. There were over 5,000 people there. It was amazing. So just a huge thank you to More Designs and Yellow Cinemas for allowing them to use the venue. And I'm curious about the museum. Where are we with the museum?
Yeah, so we did take a look at the buildings that were on there.
Okay.
Everything's wrapped up financially with them for the real estate acquisition. It's in our possession. We had folks look through it. It didn't look good. Cody, do you wanna talk a little bit about it though?
I can talk a little bit about the buildings. So we inspected the two buildings at the new property on Mill Road and they are dilapidated pretty bad. There's dry rot, electrical cords hanging out, roofs in disrepair. There's no foundation. So they're not a good fit to put anything. A lot of money would have to go into that to fix those. So I can tell you that's what is about those buildings.
Yeah, I did mention to the Parks Committee, I attended their meeting earlier this week. Asked yesterday, asking them to start coming up with ideas to present to council. And then, of course, council will have the final say on what happens to that area. But yeah.
Okay.
Sounds like a fire exercise. Fire drill.
Thank you. That was it.
Okay. Councilor Hess,
Nothing to report at this time.
Councilor Brooks.
I always have something to report. I went to the AWC luncheon last month. I wasn't able to report it on our last meeting because we didn't have a study session, but there, I brought back packets for each and every city councilor that didn't attend, the legislative initiatives and the information we would need to continue with a youth council, or at least exploring that, amongst many other resources. I also attended the Veterans Day celebration in concert. The beer garden was hosted by American Legion and VFW. They're amazing, just phenomenal. Community Conversations was this month as well, which was at 507 Tap Room and Filling House. That wasn't as well attended as other months, which was unfortunate, but I hope that picks up next month when we go to the golf course. But today was a homelessness committee meeting, and that we spent nearly the entire hour talking about updating the resources that are on our city website right now, which are very outdated, like since 2021. And that list was compiled by faith-based organizations in the area. And there are a lot more government agencies, nonprofits in the area that can help. So we're looking at dividing that up or listing it out by radius, having City Hall be the center, to see how close we can get those resources, whether it's food, clothing, hygiene, or a place to lay their head. And that's what I have.
Councilor Brooks, Councilor Kaminsky.
Well, I also attended the gala. It was very full, very fun, very hard to get into. Sold out in 30 seconds. So I heard many people saying, hey, we need a convention center in Yelm just to house a party. So put that on our list of things to do.
On your fee schedule.
It's not too late.
Yeah. I popped into the Boys and Girls Open House. That was fun. Got a little tour from the kids. And then I went to the Chamber of Commerce lunch today. We had guest speaker from the Nisqually Land Trust. And my favorite fun fact about the Nisqually River bears repeating. It's the only river in the country that is bordered, begins in a national park and ends in a federally protected park. Only one in the country. So from Mount Rainier to the Wildlife Refuge. So I think that's really, really cool. So she talked about, gave us some general information and then talked about the almost 500 acres of the river that are right here in our backyard. And we talked about the extension of the prairie line, which we're working on. And what makes that really rare and unique is for all the millions of acres that they have and own, very few of them are accessible to the public. So the trail and the bridge will allow people to actually be on the land trust itself. Even though it's public lands, they're just not accessible. So I thought that was very, very good. And at the next study session, I think it should be on the roster. The Arts Commission has come up with another idea, another art project by a local person, already funded by the Arts Commission, so no worries there. And it's of historical significance, very interesting. So they will be bringing that up for our approval, and it falls right in line with the 100-year celebration. So hopefully that will be met with good.
Lots of really cool.
Sorry.
Celebration.
Yeah, it's a cool thing.
Great.
So that's my report.
All right, cool. I think that takes us to, well, there's no executive session, but there is option to adjourn. Councilmember Smith, second by Councilmember Kaminsky. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say nay. We are adjourned.